1 in 5 people has a gene that makes explosive power physically impossible to fully develop, no matter how hard they train, no matter how many years they put in. You might be one of them. Here's what that gene does, why evolution kept it alive, and what it reveals about how your body actually works. 2 million years ago, your body made a decision. Your ancestor woke up every day with two problems pulling in opposite directions. Something wants to kill you right now, and food is 6 miles away and won't find itself. Think about how different those two demands are. Maximum force in under a second, or steady movement for 6, 8, 10 hours without breaking down. A sprinter and a marathon runner live in completely different bodies. Your ancestor needed to be both on the same day, without knowing which one was coming. No animal on Earth faces that combination quite like humans did. A lion is built for the short chase, a wolf is built for the long one. Humans had to cover both, and the body found a way. So instead of picking one system, it built two and ran them side by side. Fast twitch fibers for the moments that required everything instantly. Slow twitch fibers for the long effort that kept people alive between those moments. Every person alive today carries both. What varies is the ratio, and that ratio shapes everything about how your body moves, performs, and responds. The person next to you at the gym isn't just more or less fit than you. They might be running an entirely different biological system, and neither of you knows it. Fast twitch, built for that second when everything goes wrong. Your heart rate spikes before your brain knows why. Fast twitch fibers were already firing before you consciously decided to move. They run on sugar stored directly in your muscles. Energy loaded before danger even arrives. No ramp up, no waiting for your lungs. Just immediate power. Sprinting from a predator, throwing with force under pressure, reacting before your brain fully processes what's happening. Every situation where half a second was the difference between alive and not. Fast twitch fibers are large and carry very little oxygen. They run on fuel that's already loaded and ready, like a car with the engine running before you even open the door. You know that feeling when a workout starts hard and you're immediately in it, while someone next to you looks like they're still warming up? That's not confidence, that's fuel. That stored sugar runs out fast, and once it's gone, these fibers have nothing left to pull from. You cannot hold a full sprint for 10 minutes. Your body won't allow it. This is why a natural sprinter can look unstoppable for the first quarter mile, and then fall apart completely while someone else moves past them like they were standing still. Both people trained hard. One just ran out of the right kind of fuel. Most people chalk that up to fitness, to willpower, to not wanting it enough. But your body was never designed to sustain maximum output. It was designed to survive it, briefly, explosively, and then recover. Loaded, powerful, and gone. Slow twitch, the engine that outlasted everything. There's an animal on the American plains called the pronghorn. It can hit 55 miles per hour. A human tops out around 28, but a human can run for hours. The pronghorn can't. That gap is exactly what kept our ancestors alive. They called it persistence hunting, chasing prey until it collapsed from exhaustion. Researchers have documented nearly 400 historical accounts of it practiced on every continent. It worked because most animals cool down by panting. Panting stops working when you're running hard. Humans cool down by sweating, which keeps working at full effort. A human can follow an animal for 4 hours in midday heat and still be moving when the animal has stopped completely. Not because of strength, because of a cooling system that nothing else on land can match. Slow twitch fibers are the engine behind that ability. They're loaded with tiny structures called mitochondria, small power plants inside the muscle that keep turning oxygen into energy as long as oxygen keeps coming in. They also carry a protein that works like a small oxygen tank built directly into the muscle, so the fiber never has to wait for a fresh supply from the blood. The more of both a fiber has, the longer it keeps working without stopping. They're smaller than fast twitch fibers, produce less force per contraction, but they almost never quit. That's the key difference between the two systems. Fast twitch fibers dominate for seconds, slow twitch fibers take over for everything after that. That's why someone built for endurance can run a steady pace for 2 hours and feel like they're just getting started. While everyone else is counting down the miles, they're somewhere else entirely. You already know which one you are. When you run with a group, do you feel strongest at the start or the end? When effort gets intense fast, does that feel like your zone or does it wreck you? You've had that answer your whole life. The kid always picked first for sprints, the one who lapped everyone on the long run, the person who hits a wall at mile 2 while someone next to them barely breaks a sweat. Most people assume that gap is about fitness, about effort, about who wanted it more. But two people can train the same program for the same amount of time with the same dedication and respond completely differently. Someone who thrives in the first 60 seconds of a hard workout is running a different system than the person who comes alive somewhere around the 40-minute mark. Neither one is doing it wrong. In untrained people, the average split between fast and slow twitch fibers sits around 50-50, but the actual range runs from 15 to 85% in either direction. That means two people sitting in the same gym class could have muscle compositions at completely opposite ends of the spectrum and both be considered normal. Elite sprinters typically sit at 60 to 80% fast twitch in their legs. Elite marathon runners often flip that number almost entirely. Research shows that a significant part of that difference is inherited. You didn't choose your starting point, but understanding it changes how you train, how you recover, and what you stop blaming yourself for. The person who always struggled with long runs isn't lacking discipline. Their muscles are just built to fire hard and fast, not to cruise for an hour. The person who never felt explosive in the weight room isn't weak. Their fibers are optimized for something else entirely. The reason why comes down to a single gene. The gene that splits people in two. There's a gene called ACTN3. Think of it as a switch. When it's on, it produces a protein found only in fast twitch fibers, the ones behind speed and explosive power. When it's off, that protein doesn't get made at all. In a 2003 study of Olympic athletes, almost no elite sprinter or power athlete had this switch turned off. The ones built for speed almost universally had it running. Around 1 in 5 people carries 2 copies of the off version, meaning their fast twitch fibers never get that boost, no matter what they do. That's roughly 1.5 billion people worldwide. Their muscles naturally lean slow twitch, better stamina, better recovery, better at the kind of effort that just keeps going. For most of human history, that wasn't a disadvantage. It was exactly what the group needed. Hunters who could explode out of danger in 2 seconds and hunters who could track prey across 12 miles without stopping. A group needed both to survive. Remove either one, and the group becomes vulnerable. A 2018 study made this even clearer by looking at identical twins. Same DNA, same starting point in life. One had been a lifelong marathon runner. The other had done no structured training for decades. The marathoner's legs were 92% slow twitch fibers. His brother sat at 40%. Same genes, completely different bodies. That single finding changes how you should think about your own training. Your genetics hand you a starting point, but decades of consistent training genuinely shifts where you land inside that range. You're not locked into what you were born with. You just can't completely outrun it either. Work with what your body does naturally and push the edges from there. 2 million years ago, one man outran a lion. Another chased a deer for 4 hours until it had nothing left. Both ate that night. They were just built differently, and the group survived because of it. That's still true now. The person who wins the first half mile and the person still moving at mile 8 aren't competing versions of the same ideal. They're two survival systems that have been working alongside each other for 2 million years. Speed helped us escape. Endurance helped us survive. Both are still inside you.